Sports Talk with PlayerAgent3. My next guest, man, is a former Pro Bowl wide receiver, Mr. Terance Mathis. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. Blessed, just blessed.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and sharing your story with me, man. This is very appreciative of your time. Stone Mountain, Georgia, man. So you grew up in Stone Mountain, Georgia, man. That's the Atlanta, Georgia area, right? That's the Atlanta area, right?
Yeah, man. That's about 15 miles east of the city. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So coming up, man, growing up, man, you were a dual athlete in high school where you played football and basketball. What was that like for you?
You know what? It was, today, kids try to specialize in one sport, and I always tell them, don't do it. Don't do it. You play as many sports as you can play. Being a former college coach, I wanted to know what you were doing after each football season if you were playing a different sport, because I needed to see how you adjust from one sport to the other. And then you want to see them in different aspects, different arenas, around different teammates, and see how they communicate whatsoever. And I suggest that you play both sports. For me, it was great, man, playing football. I was a quarterback in high school, was a point guard in basketball. So, I was running the show, baby.
So did you excuse me, going to college, did you have the opportunity to play both, or you lean more towards football?
It's funny because after I was done playing football and I signed my scholarship to play football at the University of New Mexico, I started getting a lot of phone calls from other universities for me to come play basketball. But I had already signed that scholarship to go to the University of New Mexico. But when I hit campus there, the cool thing was the head basketball coach at the university used to coach in Georgia. So he knew where I was from and knew about me. And he tried to get me out every year to play basketball. During the off season, I would always play basketball with the basketball players during the summer. When they get together to play basketball, I was the only football player they allowed to play in their pickup and scrimmage games during summertime. So that was cool. And I went out. I had an opportunity to go out. I dressed a couple of games my junior year. I dressed a couple of games at the time. Luke Longley, former Chicago Bulls center, was the center at the university.
Okay.
And I got a chance to dress a couple of games, but then I ran into some academic problems and had to leave campus. Then, my senior year, I probably should have went out and played, but I wanted to concentrate on getting ready for the NFL draft, so I didn't play.
Mm-hmm. Being in that type of situation, man, and I was looking over some of your stuff, man. How did a kid from Stone Mountain, Georgia, end up at New Mexico when you have the SEC schools right in your backyard? and the SEC is big time in football.
I used to ask the same question. I was not heavily recruited. Georgia wanted me to come walk on as a cornerback, and I was a 5'9", 145 pounds. I wasn't playing cornerback in the SEC. Georgia Southern was the only other school that was on me hard, and that's the reason I got to New Mexico, because their offensive coordinator left Georgia Southern and went to New Mexico and kept recruiting me. But I remember at one point I was called out of class, and they said, hey, there's a college recruiter down in the coach's office that wants to see you. So I walk down there. The guy comes up, he shakes my hand, and he goes, man, he says, you great, you look good on film, great little athlete, but you way too small to play football in the SEC and at the University of Tennessee. Man, if you could have heard what was going on in my mind, the words I was saying in my head, being a gentleman, I wasn't going to say it out loud. I wasn't going to, curse him out loud, but I cursed him in my head. But the ironic thing was, 2 years later, we go up to Knoxville and we play Tennessee. And I have a big game at home in the Southeast, in Tennessee, in their stadium in front of 106,000. I went over 100 yards, had a touchdown in that game, and we almost beat them. And that was my thing of saying, you should have signed me. And shouldn't have let me go.
Right. So, and that's the thing. You became a All-American football player at New Mexico. What was your thinking that, you know what, when we play these SEC schools, I'm gonna show them what they missed out on? Was that, did you have that in the back of your mind?
Man, did I? I can remember stats. We played, as I told you, my sophomore year, we played Tennessee. My junior year, we played, actually it was my senior year, we played Florida. I went over 100 yards and had 3 touchdowns in that game. And then my last game of junior year, we played Arkansas, and I caught 14 balls for 245 yards and 3 touchdowns. And, now that's when the conversation started. How does this kid leave Georgia and get all the way to New Mexico and not play in the SEC in the South? And nobody had an answer for that. And nobody still has an answer for that. But at the end of the day, it probably worked best for me. I got a chance to play as a freshman. As you said, I was consensus All-American. I got drafted, played 13 wonderful years in the NFL.
Now, a guy of your stature, you said, 5'9", 100 and what? 45, 50 pounds.
Coming out of high school, yeah.
High school. Now, and I'm sure you've heard the knocks. He's too small. He can't play on this level. He can't do this. He can't do that. 1990, was it 1990? You were drafted by the New York Jets. Take me back, man, to that. If you can, take me back to that night that everything was coming into fruition in terms of your dreams of playing in the National Football League, based on the knocks that you were given coming up.
Well, draft day, that initial draft day, I was projected to be the 3rd receiver taken in the draft. So that was probably in the first 3 rounds. Never happened. Had a draft party, everything. It never happened. So the knock by Mel Kiper on draft day, he's too small. He's not very fast. He's quick, but he's inconsistent in his hands. All those things, the things that Mel Kiper say to drop your stock on draft day, and that happened. So I ended up being the number 18th player picked the 2nd day by the New York Jets, and oh boy, that chip on my shoulders became very huge. So my whole world changed. All I wanted to do is go to New York and prove to people that I can play football, and I can play football at a high level. Now, at this time, I'm 5'10", 160 pounds when I get to New York. But nobody they didn't understand my heart was 220 pounds. So early learned some football, was around some veteran guys. Became a professional at New York. And then, as you know, after 4 years, things started happening.
Yeah, and you actually spent most of your career with the Atlanta Falcons, but you had an amazing career, man. You played in the Super Bowl. You put up some really nice numbers, man. And I'm sure that your story is a talking point, especially to kids that are smaller and that want to, play on the professional level. I mean, talk about that experience, that whole experience of playing in the Super Bowl and just being a professional athlete.
Well, at the end of the day, you never let anybody tell you that you can't, because they don't determine your destiny. They don't determine your purpose. Only God does. And once you put your trust in Him and put it in His hands, the sky's the limit. I tell you that right now. No matter how big I was, I always tell people, because after they see me, they go, "I thought you were bigger than that." And I have to tell them, on Sundays, I'm 6'3", 215. I said, after I take my uniform off, I'm back to normal size. But,
right.
To give them a chance, as a kid, you always play out in the street, in the park, or wherever you playing football at, playing in the Super Bowl. That game in the Super Bowl, that last catch, the winning touchdown. And I got an opportunity to do that with that 1998 Falcons team, to play in the Super Bowl in Miami. And it was a dream come true, man. And I'm here to tell you, young people, dreams do come true. I mean, but they don't come true with you just laying on the couch playing video games or skating through in class or whatsoever, skipping class, drinking, smoking. Dreams come true by you believing it and going out doing something to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And I'm a testament, come from a single parent home, and didn't have much. And the thing is it was a dream of mine ever since I was 6 years old to play in the NFL. And of course you're going to have obstacles and bumps along the way, but it's how you overcome those obstacles that makes you stronger and determines your destiny.
All right. Now you just sparked up a memory for me, man. So you actually were a part of you were one of the Dirty Birds with
man. Was that what? We started the Dirty Birds and everybody's still using that term. We should have just patent that thing and sue everybody that uses it. Once that 98 team decimated, there's no more Dirty Bird. You can't duplicate that football team. You can't duplicate those cast of characters. You can't duplicate that time, that fun, that energy that was in the city of Atlanta at the time. You can't duplicate that. You got to understand, during that time, we had more black season ticket holders than any other program, any other team in the NFL from 98 all the way up until the last game Michael Vick played. So you can't duplicate that. The Dirty Birds is history. Put it on the shelf. Tell your kids about it.
Now, were you a part of that when Andre Rison was with the Falcons? Were you on the team when he and Deion Sanders had that little altercation on the field?
Was I on the team? I was on the field.
Oh, okay.
I was right there.
Okay.
I was right there. It was brewing all week. Deion says, I'm coming back to the house that I built. And Rison was like, he didn't build this house. I built this house and it's still mine. And I'm still owner and I still live in it. So they were going back and forth and it was just brewing.
Okay. Yeah. Those are definitely some good times, man. So throughout your career, when did you know that it was time to hang it up?
I didn't. Tell you the truth. After year 13, I thought I had maybe a couple more years left in me. I was a free agent, but I was 34 years old. And, I knew that it was a slim chance of me getting picked up again. So, after the season that I didn't get picked up, well, during the season I wasn't picked up, after week 8, after I didn't get picked up, I knew it was over. I couldn't take a year off and come back. Nobody was going to sign a 35-year-old receiver. Mm-hmm. So I knew it was time. It was bittersweet, but at the end of the day, at year 10, I started preparing myself for the time that I had to step away. I would say things like, this game doesn't define me. I'm Terance Mathis, the man. I'm not Terance Mathis, Atlanta Falcon, NFL football player. So for 3 years, I was preparing myself, for my exit from the NFL. It didn't make it any easier, but the transition was probably better than most.
Do you think that's something that's missing in today's game, not just the NFL, but the NBA as well, where guys, towards the end of their career, they don't plan for life after football or basketball?
I think so, because, at the end of the day, you got to understand there's a mentality of every week I get paid, every week I get paid, every 2 weeks I get paid, or whatever it is. And there's a lot of money coming in while you're playing. But what you don't realize, as much money is coming in, there's probably 50 to 60, maybe even more than that going out for bills, taking care of people, taxes and all that. So you're not really accounting for, okay, I'm gonna have money when I'm done, but I'm still have to maintain this lifestyle. So how do you do that? You got to make a fine adjustment. One thing that I did is, after I retired, I downsized. I got out of my $1 million home and downsized to a $500,000 house and took advantage of the 401k plan, annuities whatsoever, and and it, got money put away. And then I went to work. I started my own company for a while, but then I went into coaching because, this is the thing. I had a financial guy that told me the day I retired, we sat down and we talked and we did the numbers. And he said, I was 35 at the time. He says, in 15 years, if you don't do nothing else, you'll be broke. That's what he said. In 15 years, if you don't do anything else in the lifestyle you live in now, you'll be broke. But he said, but if you can bring in somewhere between $45,000, $50,000, $55,000 a year, you'll be fine. And that's what I've been doing, but it didn't, the blessing of all this, bruh, is this. I married a doctor, and she's still working, and she's still an essential worker, and she makes money, and both of us together is a powerful couple. We got 401k plans, we got savings, we got 2 kids in college right now that we're paying for. And, the thing is, God has truly, truly blessed us. And because we're tithers, we tithe that 10%, man, on everything that we get, so we've been truly, truly blessed. I think that, you got to sit down, guys got to sit down with their financial guys and ask the tough questions. How much money do I have? How long would it last if I don't play another snap or shoot another jump shot? And these are questions, and the financial guy got to be honest with them.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you deal with the whole CTE thing? Once you stopped playing, was that a concern of yours? Based on the things that what happened to Junior Seau, and what has happened to a lot of former NFL players with the depressions, the headaches. How did you deal with that situation?
It was very concerning to me because I knew that I've had multiple concussions starting from college and all the way through the NFL. And, I was really, really concerned. And then my kids and my wife got concerned when the movie Concussion came out with Will Smith. And I took them to see it. And we left the theater and it was dead silent all the way home in the car. And they didn't know how to. So I opened up the conversation. Because I said, do I exhibit any of these symptoms or, whatsoever? When I get moody or when something's going on, let me know so I can handle it. Don't let me get too far gone before you say something to me. So what started happening was I was doing yearly physicals. I was doing neurological checkups. Matter of fact, I just did one about a month ago. And it's so funny. The doctor comes in, he says, I got your, she says, she comes in and says, I got your scans on your brain. So I'm going, oh my God, okay. She said, your brain is beautiful. I said, oh, thank you, Jesus. She said, there's not a spot on there. It's just perfect, blah, blah, blah. I said, after all these concussions, I've been spared. But, the thing is, you got to keep getting them checkups. You got to go get those tests, man, because you want to be prepared and you want to catch it before you get too far gone.
Right. Okay. That's good to hear, man. Good to hear that you got those results. You're big into, doing things off the court. You were, I think, 1998 Man of the Year for the Atlanta Falcons, and your charity is Terance Loves Children, or
it went from Terance Loves Children to the Terance Mathis Foundation, which now I shut down both. The government makes it very hard for us to have foundations, whatsoever. It's very difficult now for us to do it. It's just because wealthy people found loopholes into doing that and themselves and keeping money whatsoever and staying rich. So the foundation was really predicated on helping those in need. We've done things from turkeys. For years we was giving 1,000 turkeys away for Thanksgiving. We had breakfast with Santa, where we get a Santa Claus and we go to a local restaurant and invite some underprivileged kids there from different communities, and we had people just donating. When I say this was a beautiful We had bikes, to skateboards, to computers, to whatever. We even had a person needed a wheelchair, and somebody bought a wheelchair for a kid for Christmas. I mean, we did some wonderful things, man. And then, just the things that you don't know that the foundation has done, where we've helped families who are struggling with rent or with groceries whatsoever. And, my mom told me, once you make it, don't forget where you came from, help those in need. And that's what I've always done. And the thing is, you ask my wife, I give the shirt off my back, but she won't let me do it.
Okay. You also, now I don't know if you're still involved in this. You also got involved in NASCAR, forming your own team. Talk about that, because Michael Jordan,
yes.
he just recently got into the business, man. I mean, that's something that you don't hear Black people being involved in. So please talk about that.
I'm a pop in the back of the head when I see. When I first started it whatsoever, it was, this is how it all formulated. I had a marketing company, and when NASCAR started their diversity program, we wanted to be the Southeast region marketing company for their diversity entity. So what happened was, someone said to me, do you know any high profile individuals, African Americans, that would want to own a NASCAR team? And I said, yeah. And I went to a few of them, and I found one, and I found a team that was going to give up 50% of their share for this athlete, and change the name of their team and the number and the logo and the colors whatsoever. So we had companies like McDonald's, American Express, Nike, Comcast, and a few others, big companies that was ready to jump on board of this. And then all of a sudden, the guy's agent got involved and says, how dare you talk to him without talking to me first? And I said, I don't know who you are, and I never heard of you. I don't know you. I said, but you must don't know who I am. And I said, your client decided he wanted to do this, and we did it. And as we were going, McDonald's was calling me, well, what's the deal? What's the deal? Is it a done deal? Is it a done deal? Is it a done deal? And you know what, man? It was a blessing in disguise. And I hate it for this young man, because he's like a little brother to me. He got convicted of dogfight.
Wow.
So that's how that happened. So when that happened, God was kind of telling me, hey, maybe you need to go in a different direction with this. What I did was I stopped. They offered me ownership of the team, and I said no. I tried it for a minute and I said no, but then I left it, and then I started as a marketing director for another team. And and going back to Michael Jordan, when I had the team, he said to me, says, T, I'm in this motorcycle stuff right now. He says, once I come out of this, and if I ever decide to get a NASCAR, you'll be the first one I call. I'm still waiting for that call.
We're waiting for that. How important do you think it is, for the African American community to see things like this with yourself, Michael Jordan, I think Brad Daugherty has his hand in it. How important do you think it is for the African American community to see, African Americans getting involved in NASCAR?
Well, I think it's very important, because at the end of the day, you got to understand we about $1 trillion in spending power. And the thing is, most of the sponsors that are with NASCAR, we spend money on. And I think it's very important, if you're going to spend money on companies, we might as well be part of the process. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, people, I've been involved with NASCAR for years. I've been to the track. I've been to Daytona, to Talladega. I've been to Darlington. I've been to a lot of southern tracks, and I've been to a lot, other tracks, Vegas, whatsoever. And at the end of the day, I never personally witnessed any racism. You would be amazed how diverse those crowds are. The biggest knock I have on NASCAR is this, and why they cannot get rid of their reputation is this. When you got $1 billion+ worth of cars going around the track, about 40 something cars going around the track with Fortune 500 companies or whatsoever on those cars, where do you think those cameras need to stay? Because those companies want their companies to be seen. So those cameras got to stay on the cars. And it's not like any other sport where you fan the crowd and you see what's going on and you see them having a good time. So you don't know who's in the crowd because they never fan the crowds. They never pan those cameras in the crowd. So you don't know how diverse these races are. You will see more Black folks than you would even imagine if you go to a race.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, Terance, I want to switch gears for a few seconds, man. We both know what's going on in the world today, man. The police shootings. It's just a lot of social unjust going on in the world today, man. And you see a lot of professional athletes speaking out. A lot of professional athletes are donating money to different causes. As a former professional athlete, do you think it's professional athletes' responsibility to get on this train and try to make a difference?
I'm glad you asked me that question because it's really a personal choice. At the end of the day, it's a personal choice. But if you're an athlete and you got a platform and you choose to do that, make that personal choice, go do it. Go do it. Some voices are bigger than others. Everyone cannot stand there on that stage and be articulate enough and be passionate enough about the concerns of injustice and the racial divide and all those things right now. The systemic racism. There's only 10% of the athletes in the world that can stand up and be heard and be listened. But the rest of us can follow and affect our communities and affect the little group of people that we get in touch with that entail will affect a large number of people. So do I think it's their responsibility? I don't, at the end of the day, if you see something wrong, yes, it's your responsibility to speak up. But at the end of the day, and on the other hand, it's a personal choice. The thing is, just because you don't speak up, that don't mean you're not hurting. Right. That means you're not doing. That doesn't mean you don't care. We hurt just as much as those that's out there marching, that's out there on the front lines, that's out there getting the brutality and all those things, because we get the systemic racism also. We get the racism also, but it's on a higher billion-dollar level, man. And the thing is, we fight our injustices also. It's just those that play out in a violent act, but it plays out in the corporate world, in the boardrooms, on the sidelines, wherever it may be. It plays out. So the thing is, we're all fighting, man. We're all fighting, and we got to continue to pray, and we got to keep marching on. It's gonna look. Lord said it wasn't gonna be easy. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be easy. If it was easy, it'd be done. I'm a very spiritual person. If you probably don't know yet, but think about how hard it was for Jesus to carry his cross to his death. He knew the end of it was the resurrection and the power from it. Mm-hmm. He knew that. He could have just dropped it and walked away and been fine. That's the same march we have. We got to keep marching, even though it's hard, even though some of the outcomes is not the way we want it to be, but we can't stop, because at the end of the day, justice will prevail.
As a Black father, what do you tell your kids about if they get pulled by the police? What do you tell them about racism? I mean, what is there anything that you can tell them?
It's hard, man. You know, as you saying that, I'm thinking about my son who's a freshman in college right now, at a junior college in Texas, and he's away from me. And just the emotional of knowing that he's away, and just knowing that, you know, I pray to God that I've taught him right. You know, it's, you know, it's almost comical. You know, we sit and talk about, well, if you just comply, you stay alive, you don't die. That's not true.
Right.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. It's not true. So the thing is that you still got to comply, and we pray to God that you don't die. You know, oh my God, we pray to God you don't die. You know, and we don't know, man. We don't know, dude. And that's the sad thing about it, is it can happen to the as we have seen over the last 12 months or so, it can happen to the most innocent of people. You know, the kid just coming back from the store, massage therapist, and he's killed, man. It's
very scary, man. Today is very scary.
Very scary.
You know, you just gotta pray that, you know, your kid, your son or daughter, or make it home safe.
Yeah.
Every day, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
they don't care. People don't care who my kid's dad is.
Yeah, they don't care.
They won't know until after the fact.
And
then they go, oh snap. You know, and that's the sad thing, man. They don't. And I'm not saying it's all cops. It is not. And we know it's not. And we know, and I'm not going to sit here and say all police are bad. But there are some that are just make bad decisions and bad choices, and with no consequence, you know, and no justice behind it, man. And that's sad. It's almost like, you know, when the Breonna Taylor situation came out, they still didn't say her name in the courtroom. Isn't that amazing? And then how about this? This is the amazing thing. I heard something was this: a drywall has more to lose than a black female. So the closest police officer got charged by the drywall for shooting into the drywall. Come on, man.
All right.
Are you kidding me? Really? A wall is more important than a life? Come on, bruh. Come on. See, I get passionate about this, man. But you know, I know God has my spirit and He has my soul, and He takes me so far to the point where He says to me, all right, you said what you had to say, calm down, don't say anything that's gonna initiate anything that you're gonna regret down the road.
Now, I got just a couple more points and I'm gonna let you get out of here. How important do you think it is for guys such as, you see Chris Paul, you know, he's putting HBCUs out there, man. He's supporting these HBCUs. You see Deion Sanders just took the head coaching job at Jackson State University, man, which is, in my opinion, this is huge, because I don't think this would have happened 20 years ago. I don't think this would have happened 20 years ago. How important do you think it is for these high-profile professional athletes to now support and recognize these HBCUs?
I'm next, bro. I'm next. I'm gonna get me a head job at one of these HBCUs really, really soon here. And the thing is, it's very important because of the fact that we got to teach our young black men their history, our black kids their history. And you know what? If companies gonna spend money on our athletes at these high-profile institutions, these Power 5 institutions whatsoever, let's bring our high-profile athletes to the HBCUs, where the HBCUs can get this money and put out doctors, lawyers, presidents, and all these things. Because the only thing that's lacking at your HBCUs right now is facilities.
Facilities, yeah.
Resources. The education is great. The football, the basketball, the baseball, all that is great. But there's no resources for your facilities, for your labs, for your libraries, for your theaters, your arts and science, your art theaters, whatsoever. And then there's no outlet who covers these sports. So now, once these high-profile top 100 ESPN players start going to these HBCUs, guess who's going to have to start covering it?
Exactly.
ESPN, ABC, NBC, CBS, and guess who they're paying? They got to pay the HBCUs to get these athletes on their television. And it's about to happen. It's about to happen, man. And when it does, it's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be, and it's not saying it's blacks against whites, but what it's saying is, hey, it's time for us to get a piece of the economic pie too.
All right, we got to start supporting.
How we going to do it?
Yeah, we got to start supporting our own, man. This shit happened a long time ago, but I'm so happy that Deion Sanders took that step, man. Prime time, he's gonna garner a lot of attention, man. And these kids, some of these high-profile kids are gonna want to go to Jackson State just because of Deion Sanders. So,
but if you're a defensive back, if you're a cornerback, where else would you want to go?
Exactly.
Because you're gonna get the best teaching for one of the best to ever play the game, one of the top 100 players of all time. There's no other place I want to go if I'm a corner.
Yeah. Hey, you said it, man.
Right.
You said it. Mr. Mathis, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Is there anything, man, that you would like to leave us with, man? I don't know if you have any other foundations or anything else going on. If you use social media, where can people follow you? What's going on right now?
Well, right now, you can follow me on Twitter, The Real T Mathis. And then you can follow me on Instagram. It's just at Terance Mathis whatsoever. I'm just going to leave you with this. In the book of Proverbs, it says, what a man thinketh, so is he. So if you think you're poor, you're poor.
That's right.
If you think you're rich, you're going to be rich. If you think you're beneath someone, you're going to be beneath someone. But you got to think as a king thinks. You're a king. We're all kings and queens in this world. Think like that, and you shall become one.
Hey, man, that's some good words to leave everybody with, man. Again, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Hopefully I can get you on the show later on down the road, man, and we can talk about some more things, man. Looking forward to seeing you on the sideline, maybe in the swag.
Yeah. That's when we talk again when I get that job.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Hey.
All right.
I appreciate you again, man, coming on Sports PlayerAgent3. Terance Mathis.
Be blessed.
Thank you.